Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Slappin Kpop podcast. I am Kayla, and today I am here with Sammi.
Hello.
And today we are going to be talking about K-pop K-dramas, aka K-dramas that are about K-pop. There are three that came out very recently that we are going to be touching on, which is Imitation, which we've already talked about pretty extensively here.
Quite extensively.
But we're here again. Let Me Be Your Knight and Idol the Coup. And we have watched a couple of other dramas that deal with K-pop, but none of them really deal with K-pop enough to warrant really mentioning them that much here.
So, those shows very much deal with K-pop as a tertiary aspect to the character. Like, for example, I've watched You're Beautiful. That is about a K-pop group, technically. But the fact that the K-pop industry plays no part in this, it's mainly about a girl pretending to be a boy, and it's one of the worst things I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm. And I have seen the producers and Hit the Top or Best Hit or whatever that drama is called now, and that producers deals a little bit less with K-pop and more so with like the sort of variety show like entertainment industry. Hit the Top is more so the actual K-pop industry, but it also involves like time travel and other weird stuff, so it's like the setting, but it doesn't really, I don't think it's really meant to be representing the K-pop industry at all because there's like so many other weird things going on with that to begin with. So
yeah, and I know that there's other shows, like I did attempt to watch something like Modern Farmer for this. Modern Farmer has nothing to do with the industry. I also find that a lot of these shows that are quote-unquote about the K-pop industry are really about, and we'll talk about that because that's part of Let Me Be Your Knight, but they're about bands.
Yes, I don't know why we chose bands, really.
I think that, because especially recently all these shows have been about the K-pop industry. A lot of the older ones, and we're talking like You're Beautiful came out in like 2009, Let Me Be Your Knight's Modern Farmer's 2014. Like, a lot of those older shows, I think, have to do with bands just because you can do, like, the stereotypical American way that bands are produced.
Also, like, honkies and like, or members of C and Blue are also just in them, so they're just, like, banned.
So, yeah, you're, like, they can be a band. And also, I think that K-pop idols don't want to portray K-pop. Now it's different because we know how shitty the industry is. That's a very open secret. And you can almost, K-pop idols are not as, restricted now as they used to be. They're able to do these type of roles where they're like actually making fun of an industry that they are still in, as opposed to needing to be like a couple years out for them to be able to portray a K-pop idol that's being actively mistreated by their company.
Yep.
So I think these shows are just so much, I think also K-dramas in general are just better than they were 15 years ago. That's just a fact. For sure. Like, oh my god. But I think that for right now, these shows actually, with varying levels of success, do attempt. At least
bare minimum, an attempt was made to represent the K-pop industry in all of them.
In a semi-realistic way. This is not a super out. Other than Imitation, we'll get.
Imitation is something else, but the other two, Let Me Be Your Knight and Idol the Coup, do a decent job at representing like the modern K-pop industry.
And also, at least to a point, even in Imitation, an attempt was made to at least tackle the issues that actual K-pop idols tackle in the most fictitious way imaginable. And but an attempt was made.
It was an attempt at least for that.
And I do think that with a lot of these older shows, because I think like the producers in Hit the Stage are probably the newest of the shows of that era of show, and they're even like 2016.
Yeah,
something like that.
I think.
Yeah. So it's 2017.
2017, yeah.
Yeah. So Hit the Top is like the newest one. That's 2017, and it's only tertiarily involved in K-pop.
And a lot of that also does involve like the K-pop industry in like the 90s as well because of the weird time travel aspect of it. So it's a lot different than these other three.
Yeah, so I do think that's why we've sort of decided to focus on these three.
They're all very recent too. They all came out this year or last year. So
yeah, yep. So all of them came out last year.
Mm-hmm. We're going to talk about them in the order that we watched them, and also happens to be in order of like least best to best as well. So.
And honestly, it's also in order of premiere date. Because Imitation came out May 7th of 2021. Let Me Be Your Night came out November 7th. And Idol the Coup came out November 8th.
Look at that.
So they do. So we are talking about them in both chronological.
We got better the more than we made.
See, the more you make, the more you
yes,
you get. Here's the interesting thing though, and this is just before we get into individual shows, I just want to talk about how like these shows are talked about. None of these shows are particularly big hits.
None of them did particularly well, yeah.
No. All of these shows are actually, the only one that I saw really had any traction in the beginning was people were excited for Imitation, I think mainly for the cast.
For the casting, really, yeah.
Mainly because you had all those members of ATEEZ and SF9 in it.
And that was also because they were concurrently doing Kingdom at the same time that was filming, so there was a lot of also like traction for the show because of that as well.
And also of this new crop of K-pop based idol shows, this was the first one, so people got like slightly excited for it. And then people realized it was bad and it tanked. It didn't do well.
Yeah.
Then I had heard of Let Me Be Your Night vaguely because of the cast.
I had heard about it because we had the same male lead as Imitation playing the exact same character a second time, is why I knew about Let Me Be Your Night.
And I had heard of it because of the cast, and just because I knew vaguely that it was another... I didn't assume it was about the K-pop industry. I thought it was more like those earlier shows that were just about a stereotypical band.
Yeah.
But I had really not heard of anyone talking about it. Like, not much...
Mm-hmm.
Like, from, like, just the K-drama circles I go into, not many people were watching Let Me Be Your Night. And then Idol the Coup, I had heard of just from seeing a poster for it.
Yeah.
And I had not heard anyone talk about it. And to point that out, I'm on my drama list right now, and just looking at the amount of ratings, Imitation has 9,000. Let Me Be Your Night has 2,000, and Idol the Coup only has 1,000.
Yeah, and also in terms of like ratings on my drama list, both Imitation and Idol the Coup have an 8.1, which is wild to me, and Let Me Be Your Night has a 7.9.
Yeah.
Which is like, I mean, like all of the ratings on my drama list are very inflated to begin with. So that's like about... So them having about an 8 is honestly not great in terms of like my drama list ratings.
No. My drama list ratings are extremely inflated.
Yeah.
They're extreme. Anything I see that goes below like a 7.5, like a 7.8, I get concerned.
Oh,
if
yeah.
you see anything that goes down to I've seen shows that have a 6.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what did you do?
Yeah, what did you do to piss off the my drama list users that much? Yeah.
There is like I've seen shows that got a 6.3, and I'm like, what did you do? Were you insulted? Like, what? Did you insult their mother? Like
insultingly bad at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, what happened here? But otherwise, yeah, a lot of these ratings are extremely inflated. But generally speaking, I do think just a lot more people watched Imitation.
Yeah.
I think
that was a lot of that was the ATEEZ and like the SF9 of it all.
And I also think it just... I think between the fact that that's actually based on a webtoon that has more eyes on it, that was actually produced by, it was produced by KBS, but it was on Viki. Like, you had more access to watch it. I mean, so was Let Me Be Your Night. Let Me Be Your Night's also on Viki.
Yeah.
And then Idol the Coup, I had to watch it on iQIYI.
It was on iQIYI. And it's like, I think that alone is the reason why less people have watched it, because it's a lot less accessible. Not that, like, you can literally go on there and watch it for free. It's just that I think people don't know about it because it's a Chinese site to begin with.
That's the other thing is, like, I pay... the reason I go on iQIYI as much as I do is because I pay for it. Mm-hmm. And I'm just like, I probably should be, I'm at this point like, just trying to, you know, get my money's worth.
Yeah.
Just because I'm like, wait, I should probably be, you know, using what I pay for. Don't forget about it. Use it. But, like, it's not a site that, like, is in regular rotation.
Yeah, especially for K-dramas.
No, especially not for K-dramas.
It's interesting that they do get like weirdly a lot of K-dramas on IG, but
decent amount.
Yeah.
Like that's also, I mean, the only place I've seen people actually talk about IG was where you could watch Girls Planet.
Right.
But also, if you're a big Thai BL fan, a lot of them are going to iQIYI, and if you want to watch Kin Porsche, that will be on iQIYI as well. Very excited for that. I'm just plugging shit I want to watch, but yeah, no.
Yeah, that's where we watched like all of the produced seasons.
That's where we watched half of the produced seasons. That's where we watched.
Stage Boom is on there.
Stage Boom's there. Who's Princess is there. Girls Planet's there.
Yeah, a lot of the like survival shows went there.
Yeah. And it's like a very good site. I enjoy watching things.
Yeah, there's nothing
there.
wrong with it. It's like fine as a site.
Yeah, it's a decent site, but I don't think it's in the rotation.
People just
for
don't know
K-drama
about
fans.
it. Yeah,
I think a K-drama fan is more likely to watch it illegally than it is to watch it on iQIYI. Just because here's the other thing is I think the problem is when you Google a show, because a lot of people just Google where to watch it.
Yeah,
iQIYI doesn't appear.
No, all
you have
the
to know
illegal
it's there.
places show up first.
The illegal places show up, but iQIYI does not. You actually have to go there and search it yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Or you have to be on there a decent amount that you can just sort of wander through and find what you want to watch.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. It's actually decently
It is not hard at all, and a decent amount of the shows on there you can watch for free with ads. So.
Oh yeah. Honestly, if you, because I know people that can't find Backstreet Rookie. Backstreet Rookie's on there.
Mm-hmm.
My roommate's a Gumiho is on here. Like, there's a decent amount of just K-dramas that they just put here.
Yeah, if you can't find, if there's a K-drama that you want to watch that isn't in like Viki or Netflix or one of the really more popular places, go check over there because there's a decent chance it is actually just over there.
Mm-hmm. Also, maybe watch a Chinese drama on here. They're very good. They're very good. But otherwise, I do think that that's also partially why
it's got less ratings and like less people have talked about it generally.
Yeah, I mean it's not something that you're just going to randomly find. No. You will have to search for it.
It is a shame because it's easily the best show of these three.
Oh, easily.
Like not even a competition, the best show of these three.
Mm-hmm. So I think how we're going to do this is we're just going to go through Imitation, talk about the good and the bad and how we thought that just both in two aspects, how the story went, like how it is just as a show.
Yeah.
And how it is as a portrayal of what it was trying to portray of like the K-pop industry or the acting or whatever. So shall we begin with the show we've already talked about at length, Imitation?
Yes, Imitation.
So Imitation is interesting because I think it had like...
It had a good idea, and it also had a good concept. It also had good source material to go off of.
It did. The other thing is, I find it very interesting that all three of these shows talk about their groups at different stages in their career. Because Imitation is about a debut era girl group.
Yes.
Let Me Be Your Knight is about a like at peak level major band.
Yeah.
And then Idol the Coup is about a flop girl group that needs to be revived.
Is like at the edge of disbandment.
At the end of disbandment. So I do think that like this is I think maybe least interesting of the three in terms of concept.
Easily story-wise as well.
I mean, story-wise, I'm just talking like concept-wise, I find like a debut era girl group and like debut era girl group, I also think that the Shax, so it's Tea Party is the girl group with our main lead. Then you have Shax, the EXO style boy group, the big boy group, and then Sparkling, which is another I think debut era ish.
No, I think they're a little bit. They're the Nugu boy groups, so they're probably like 2 or 3 years in, but just not very popular.
Yeah. So that's sort of our three main groups here. I think generally speaking, it's the weakest show. It has the weakest plot in that it doesn't really have
it doesn't have a plot.
But also too much plot. It doesn't have any sort of through-arching plot, but too much plot. Because it
has no plot, and also, like, what plot it does have is completely irrelevant in the end.
Because you have our main three girls, who they're this... it tends to throw wrenches in the story the way like a drama would, but in the most illogical way possible.
Yeah.
Like, these girls are debuting, but a member that was supposed to debut, like, commits suicide the day that they debut, and then they hold off.
Yeah.
And then they debut with the same song, like, 3 years later. What?
It's very
That doesn't make any sense.
It's very confusing, the entire
The show
thing.
is not super well thought out.
It was not. And the thing that blows my mind is that they had literally an entire webcomic to take a storyline out of, and they chose not to do any of that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the only thing that we got is like there's like all of the characters in the groups are obviously the same, and like the Channy plot line is kind of the same, except it's way more interesting in the webcomic. So
the Channy plotline in the show is that at some point he was dating the girl that committed suicide, but he was in a group that's popular, and then sort of they were found out, she commits suicide, and then he disappears. I don't know how this man can disappear with no... Like, you've seen how... This takes place in modern day. You've seen how crazy K-pop fans are.
Mm-hmm.
How do you just how do you disappear generally at this day and age?
He disappears mid-concert because he gets the call that the girl is about to commit suicide. And then it's just
he never appears again.
Never appears again. And the explanation they give to the fan is just like completely unbelievable. Where it's like they're just like, he's leaving the group. We're not gonna explain to you why. Like, that would be a major conspiracy theory.
And then he just,
K-pop.
but also to the point where he like, it's not even that he disappears from the industry. No, he just did. Like, there's a investigative reporter who that storyline goes nowhere. That investigative reporter is looking for him just to find him and cannot physically find him. That's insane. How would that even work?
It doesn't make any sense. Like, in the webcomic, that storyline also involves like drugs and is a lot more entertaining, and like it's still not a great like logically a plot line, but it is a lot more interesting in the actual webcomic.
The other thing is, I just found that this show decided to make... Because the other thing that doesn't make any sense is that they're also running a company out of a coffee shop. That doesn't make any sense. They also decided to pay these girls, the members of Tea Party, a salary-based compensation.
Salary, which doesn't make any sense.
That's not how...
And it's like, they bring it up how that's like, oh, this has never been done in K-pop before. And it's like, yeah, but that still doesn't make it an interesting plot point for this show about K-pop.
No, it doesn't. The other thing is, I just find... And, like, it also attempts to do acting. Like, it also attempts to tackle this through an idol actor perspective.
Yeah.
Wherein our main, our main lead, played by Jung Jisoo, and then Lee Junyoung. Our favorite actor. We're gonna keep talking about him today.
He's gonna be all over this
Both
episode.
of them are... Lee Junyoung is apparently an actor in dramas, which makes sense. He's in a very successful K-pop group. But our main lead, our girl... For some reason, they decided to start putting her in film immediately, which that doesn't normally happen. But sure, maybe she's a prodigy or whatever. But also, the way they portray the acting doesn't make sense.
No, also, like, the member of Sparkling played by Yoonho, who is kind of like the second male lead, he gets a role as like a police officer in the same drama that Lee Junyoung is in, and like they obviously do this for like plot points where they have to have a fist fight. And I'm just like, this is not how you would do it in actual drama.
And also,
no way
I feel
like just get stunt actors to do that.
But also, you can't just punch him.
No.
That's assault, even if you're acting, unless you have talked about it before. Because there are, actors that, like, if you say go all for it, you go all for it. But, like, that would be a
Can't just
stunt
have a
punch.
fight and can't
You
just
can't
punch
just
him.
have
They
a
also
fight.
have Lee Junyoung do his own stunt where he flips a car. And I'm like, they would absolutely not have any actor, not even an idol actor, but they would not have any actor do that stunt.
Unless you are a trained stunt performer, and he absolutely had to be in that car.
Who does, like, all of his stunts, probably they wouldn't even let him do, like, flipping a car stunt. Like,
I would not. I don't think anybody should be in that car. But, like, generally speaking, I think that this show is the most fantastical in that it seems like it takes place in a fantasy world.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's nothing, like, realistic about... Like, it is the trappings of a K-pop group where, like, they'll mention the buzzwords of that they don't get paid. They'll mention the buzzwords of that they're not allowed to date. They'll mention the buzzwords of, I don't know, that they want to make different music than what their company wants.
And then they have the Channy suicide with like dating and like the suicide, and I'm like, there's like they're trying to throw in all of these like actual problems in K-pop, but it's executed in such a bad way that none of them make any sense for the drama.
Yeah. Otherwise, and like, I'm trying to like say something nice, but I cannot find a nice thing to say.
And it's like all of the side plots are dumb. They go nowhere. They don't make any sense.
The other thing is that they attempt, at the end, they sort of make the reveal that it's the CEO that like caused all of this. It's Shax's company CEO.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, they end up just doing a big charity concert.
Mm-hmm. Channy appears and then disappears immediately again. And then disappears
immediately and is like, I don't want to be found. And I'm like, okay. I mean, the fact that I know you're alive is better than not knowing you're alive. So, great.
But it's like also the villains tend to be a little, in these K-pop dramas, a little bit like too cartoony evil to be believable at all.
Here's the thing. I feel like they have to be, because CEOs in real life are mainly just business oriented and heartless. Also, the amount that you would be involved with your CEO is very different. Yeah. Like these people are dealing with 18 managers before they even go near the CEO.
Yep.
The other thing is I just find that the subtler manipulation is always so much better than these bombastic, like, cartoon villain moments.
Easily.
Where, like, the subtle manipulation of, I have your career in my hands and you could just never get to come back again. Mm-hmm. As opposed to, Channy, you can't do this. Mm-hmm. I'll kill her.
Yeah.
We'll get her to...
Like,
what?
Like, what's, like, why?
Are you a mob boss?
What? It just doesn't make any sense. None of it makes any sense. Also, the acting is terrible in this drama. Mm. And it's like, they casted a bunch of people, and it's like the ATEEZ members have never acted before.
No.
But, like, this is the worst, like, this is the worst show, like, Channy's ever been in.
Channy genuinely looked uninterested to be there, and so did Huyoung.
Mm-hmm.
Huyoung doesn't do as much acting as, like, Channy does. Huyoung doesn't do
right
a lot of acting, generally. Like, he does some.
Mm-hmm.
But it is the worst acting he's ever done in his career. This female lead
of this show has done so many other
really
good shows. She was in Parasite, and then at the same time I was watching I was watching her in Doom at Your Service, and she was great in that. Good. So I'm like, what? Yeah. Like, what even is happening in this show?
Yeah, so she is the rich family's daughter in Parasite, and she did absolutely amazing in that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just think that overall this show was trying to be the closest thing that it seems much more like those older K-dramas, like a Hit the Top or You're Beautiful, more because I do think that it wanted if they could have, they would have put the K-pop further bent to the background and then just focus on their relationship.
Yeah.
But I think with the fact that they're based on a webtoon, they sort of have to talk about the K-pop aspect.
Right. The fact that it is also
just had too much going on.
It's weirdly also more about idol acting than it is about K-pop too, which is that was also a really bizarre choice for it. So
yeah. And the other thing is it can't even really make a comment on being either one, a super successful K-pop group, or being a debut era group.
Yeah.
Because one, like, it doesn't focus at all on Shax's lives or anything like that. They talk about sasaengs, but this group goes out and talks to their sasaengs.
The fan group is the most unbelievable group of fans, especially for a group like EXO, or like Shax is supposed to be. It's incredibly unbelievable, the fact that we had to make them like, they attempted to make them like actual characters, and it is just like completely unrealistic. Yeah. Oh, well, I guess the good thing I can say about it, it has good music. The Shaq song is great, and the Tea Party song is great. So
those are some of my favorite songs.
Sparkling song is bad, but I'm pretty sure that song is meant to be bad. So.
Is it? We went back and
We
forth
still
on whether or
no
not that
idea
song was supposed to be
if they
bad.
made
I
that
don't.
song purposely
I
bad
wanna
or if it's
give-
just like bad.
I want to give them the benefit of the doubt and
Yeah.
say, yes, this is supposed to be bad,
Mhm.
but, like, I don't know.
Who knows? But the Shaq song is a banger, and so is the Tea Party song. So
Yeah,
that's
the
about
Shaq's-
the only
Oh,
good
no, no,
thing
no,
I
no.
can say about it.
One of the Shaq songs is a banger.
Mm.
Because Malo is great.
Other
Amen
Shaqs,
is not
we don't
very
talk
good.
about the other one. The other one doesn't need to
Kayla
exist.
refuses to think that it,
Nope, it's not here.
refuses to acknowledge it. But Show Me by Tea Party is so
That's
good.
a great
It
song.
was genuinely one of my favorite girl group songs of last year.
Mhm.
And it's not even really
Not a real group, but it's fine.
not a real song. Sparkling, what was Sparkling's song called?
It's like Shining Diamond or something.
It was called, no, it was just called Diamond because it made me think of 17. That's the 17
yeah,
song.
but
is
it's like
Sparkling
no,
Time.
it's like because considering Sparkling is essentially like a AT's subunit. It's like
It
that's
is an
the
AT.
worst any of them have ever sounded in their career.
It's an AT subunit plus one
Plus
other
a
guy.
random guy. Yeah.
I don't know. I just think that overall the show was confused by what it wanted to do and be.
Yeah. Easily. I think that's where all of the problems come from is that whoever made this show had no idea what they were doing or what they wanted it to be. So it's bad. We've talked extensively about Imitation and how terrible it is before. So if you want more of that, we have a whole evil PowerPoint on it.
I also think we're gonna continue to bring it up.
We
As
probably
just an
will
offhand
because
comment.
it's just so fucking bad. Like,
I mean, in a weird way, I think we're gonna, because we've watched worse shows together.
We
'Cause
have.
we watched this together. I still think Tinted with You and Rainbow Prince are both worse.
yeah. I don't know because
Rainbow
there's
Prince
so
is
much
worse.
Rainbow Prince for sure. Tinted with You is so short that I'm like I don't even know.
We did watch that in like 2 hours.
Yeah.
That was more like a movie.
Yeah. All right. To move on from Imitation into
To a
Let Me
slightly
Be Your-
better show.
Slightly better show. Let Me Be Your Knight. I would say it's pretty significantly better than Imitation.
Yes.
Because and that's more so not because Let Me Be Your Knight is really good, but just because Imitation is really bad.
Oh yeah, because Let Me Be Your Knight is about like, I would say it's average. I gave it
It's
like a
average.
6.5.
What did I give
it's
it?
average.
I don't even remember what I gave it.
And
You
I
can-
mainly docket points just because I do not like the lead couple.
Yeah, lead couple is bad, but also half of that's because Lee Jun-young is back playing the exact same character he played in Imitation.
Fair. So let's talk about who is in this group.
I gave it a 7, yeah.
Yeah. So Lee Jun-young. So Let Me Be Your Knight is about a K-pop band who is like top tier, like at the top of their game K-pop band.
So think
called
like
Luna.
CN Blue, but like at their peak time.
Yeah, CN Blue at the peak. And they're called Luna, but spelled like the
Luna,
moon, not-
Luna.
Yeah, not like
Like
the other
One
group.
Us's song Luna, that way of spelling
or
Luna.
like the K-pop, or not like the K-pop group Luna. I personally like their songs a decent amount.
Their
I thought
songs
that they were
are
fun.
good. They also sound like flying songs, which is probably why
They
I like
do
them.
sound like flying songs. I like them a lot too.
I do like them.
I just don't necessarily think that because Lee Jun-young plays the main
the lead
vocalist,
singer or whatever.
Yes.
It's less of a typical band lead singer because the other members of this band do sing as well. So it's not just he is singing the entire thing for all of their songs. But
Yeah.
he is their front man, and he is their like main music producer for the band as well. But he has a condition. It's like he sleepwalks, I guess. And
He
that's
does
kind of where the
major
main plot
sleepwalking.
points of the show come from, is that he has a sleepwalking problem.
Yeah. And then you have we can just go through the main couple really right now. Then you have our main woman who is a twin.
Played by the same actress.
Played by the same actress, obviously. And the main plot here is that she is like out of work, like not like no money, really needs cash, and is trying to buy back her parents' home.
Yeah.
Then her twin is a super successful doctor who specializes in sleepwalking.
Mm-hmm.
And like by comedy mishap,
Yeah, just by a comedy of errors.
comedy of errors, she gets hired to help Lee Junyoung's character stop sleepwalking.
Mm-hmm.
And then they fall in love.
Hooray.
Great. I actually have no idea what the age difference between this couple is.
No idea.
In the show. In real life, the actress is 30 and Lee Junyoung
He's
is
like
25.
Yeah.
But I don't know what's the
That seems
process
like it
here.
would probably be like
Incorrect
what it would be in
because-
this. I don't know. It
No,
seems like it would
'cause
be
how do you-
realistic because he would
not
could be like 25 in this
he
band
could
that
be
has
25.
been like
I don't
whatever.
believe that you're going to become the leading specialist in the field of sleep
by
psychology
like 30.
by 30. I don't believe that at all. She's got to at least be like 35, 37. Because you got to think that she has had time to be a doctor.
Probably.
And then the leader in sleep psychology. That's the part where I'm confused by.
Yeah.
But honestly, their storyline is actually very boring.
It's very boring. It's like
very,
it's very boring.
It's very stereotypical K-drama. Like,
Yeah.
just picture in your mind how this storyline's gonna go.
And that's how it goes.
That's how it goes.
It's
They
like
end up
there's a
together-
bunch of mishaps that happens because he's sleepwalking and doesn't know what he's doing, and it's like,
and also
blah,
there's
blah,
the big
whatever.
lie that like, wait, you're not a, which again,
Like,
she's
you're not a
committing
doctor.
a crime. She's
Yeah.
not a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's actually quite
It's
psychologically damaging.
It's very much fraud in like a very
It is
bad
fraud.
way. So
She's also like, it's also like very bad for her sister if like,
Mhm.
hey, you're gonna ruin my reputation.
yes.
But otherwise, where the show really shines is the side
The
characters. I
three
think
other
that the
members of this group are the
three
stars.
members of this group are wonderful.
Yes.
So let's just go through the most boring one right now.
Yeah.
Jung Dongju plays the second male lead. He is not from any K-pop group.
No.
He's been in a couple music videos, but he
Just an actor.
he's
mainly.
an actor. He mainly is there to be a foil to the male lead.
He's there he's there for second male lead duties, and that's
and honestly
that's
is
it.
so much of a better person.
He's so much of a better person. Clearly, should probably end up with the female lead instead of
But
Lee
as
Junyoung,
usual,
who is
no.
being a bitch the entire time. So, but
He's
he's
such an
second. But
arrogant-
he's second
he's
male
so
lead,
arrogant.
so he's doing second male lead things.
Yeah. Also, there's 4 members of this group, Kayla.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So then we have JR, who I think has maybe my favorite or second favorite.
I think
It's,
he
like,
has
up
the
there.
most fleshed out storyline.
It is the most fleshed out
Yeah.
storyline. So he is the good. He's the bassist. He's the bassist. So essentially, he is dating she's an actress, right?
Divorced, yeah, like
She's a
30-year-old divorced actress.
Divorced actress. And like they've kept this relationship a secret for like this is an established relationship that's been going on for a decent amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
And like then there are rumors that get out that he's dating this divorced actress, and then people start to freak out.
Mm-hmm.
But I honestly, it's the best.
It's really
so good.
interesting. It's really good, and I think like there are a couple like an episode and a half of the show that are dedicated to like
Dedicated to
him
him.
and that storyline, and I think it's probably some of the best ones. I really like it.
It's so good because it's a fleshed out storyline. It's a storyline that had a clear both characters have like agency. Like she also has her own goals, and like that like this also doesn't affect her reputation well to be dating this like younger guy
Mm-hmm.
when like she is already divorced and everything. So it's like affecting both of them.
Yes.
It's just so well. I think it was very well done.
It's really well done, and it's like the way that I think they both introduce and like wrap up that storyline. I think was really good. Like it's
Mhm.
like its own contained like little storyline,
And the other
and so it's
thing
very
is-
satisfying as well.
And the other thing is that it does not have a happy ending.
It doesn't.
Spoilers, I mean at this point, they break up.
Mm-hmm.
It like there's the hint of reconciliation that maybe like in some time like they can get back together.
Yeah.
But like no. Like it just ends quite sadly.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt so bad.
You feel bad about it, but I also, in a way, it's also like a satisfying conclusion to it as well, because it's like
Yeah.
it seemed like that was probably what had to happen realistically as well.
Oh yeah. It's what should have happened. Like that relationship considering the fact that it was as secret as it was for so long that not even his group mates knew it was happening.
Mm-hmm.
They just thought he was weird.
Yep.
But it was just so well done, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Jisung, formerly of 101, playing a drummer.
Yes.
He probably has, like, the least fleshed out storyline of all of them.
He's got the least going on for the storylines, yeah.
But the other thing is that I feel like his storyline is the one that, like, because with JR's storyline, you sort of get it contained, and then with our next boy, it's also sort of self-contained.
It's also contained, yeah.
Jisung's storyline, just sort of extends throughout, like, you get bits of it throughout the whole show, and then it, like, builds to a head at one point.
Yeah, because I think it's also resolved the last as well.
It is.
Yeah.
But, like, and it doesn't have necessarily, like, a full episode dedicated to it.
But it's like,
just,
you
like,
get little
moments.
glimpses of it in almost every episode.
And, like, his storyline involves his mother.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, his mother being...
His mother sucks. His mother is trying to extort
terrible.
money out of him, essentially, at any given point in time.
And also attempting to, like, push him to go solo, make his own money, just so that she can have more money.
And so Jisung's character was also originally a child actor, and since joining Luna, he has been devoted to essentially the band, and he's wanted to just make music and be in a band instead of being an actor. And his mom has sort of doing this weird thing where she's meeting with, like, other agencies and labels and trying to get him acting jobs, like, without him even knowing about it. And he's sort of conflicted because he wants to commit time to Luna, but also he gets a script and he's like, this is actually, like, a really cool role and I would actually love to do acting again. But then it's like, his CEO
the band is going through so much other turmoil. Like, I like that they did, because them putting this storyline as snippets throughout the show works so much better, because at the point where he's getting the script is sort of the point where everything else is blowing up around him.
Everything else is falling apart, yeah.
Yeah, everyone else is just going through the worst times of their lives.
And he goes and he asks the CEO, he was like, I'm a child actor, like, what if I like, start acting again? And the CEO also, I think, is a pretty great character. I really enjoy him. Yeah. And he is like, we don't have it. The CEO isn't evil in this show.
No, not at all. We don't really have a main villain.
The main villain is the fact that the main lead sleepwalks and the female lead is committing fraud. Like, that's the villain of the story.
But also, it's that our male lead also just made a shit album.
Yeah, he made a really shitty album.
So Luna is. We'll finish Jisung and then we'll get onto that plot.
Yeah, but he goes to the CEO and he asks him if he can do acting, and the CEO essentially tells him, he's like, you know what, I think that's definitely good for your future, but we can't right now because Jun Young has, like, all of these other scandals happening that it would be bad for the group image, so.
Like, overall.
Yeah.
And I do think that does end up getting resolved very well, because, again, it could lead to absolute bitterness.
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, like, I can't do acting because this guy fucked up.
Yeah.
But I do think that by this point, the band is just at a point where they're very much a united front that he understands. And, like, obviously, like, it gets resolved and they're all a big, happy family again.
I do think that his storyline does a lot of setting up the, internal conflict of the band, because towards the end, they do get into a huge fight, like, the entire band. Where essentially Jisung's sticking points is going to Junyoung and saying, like, we are not just here to play instruments for you and for you to create everything by yourselves. Like, we are equal members of this band, and you just straight up don't listen to our opinions, like, at all.
Exactly. And that, like,
and honestly, like, fair.
I agree.
Like, I agree.
I think that that's actually a really good way to sort of establish that, because his storyline is the one that sort of revolves more outside the group. Like, JR's storyline is very internal to himself and just a problem with the industry as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
And then our other guy just is done.
Second male lead is just doing second male lead things.
Yeah, he doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Jisung's storyline is the one that just is bringing out the problems of, and it's a very realistic problem of, like, one member of a group being as successful as they are doing things a certain way can hold back other members.
It's like when you have one member who is essentially dictating the entire concept and sound of the group. I mean, I think it's pretty realistic for the other members of the group to start to feel that way after a while.
Yeah. And generally, I think that this show did a very good job of just, like, we talked about all the, except for sleepwalking, which I don't necessarily want to know about the private lives of our K-pop idols, if they sleepwalk or not.
Yep.
It's not my job.
Mm-hmm.
But other than the sleepwalking, I think everything else is super realistic to talk about.
Yeah.
Because the other thing is that, the other sticking point is that at the beginning of the show, and what causes everybody to have to, like, you know, walk on eggshells around Lee Junyoung, is that he created this album for Luna, and he was finally able to just have, like, full control.
Mm-hmm.
And the album was apparently super experimental.
Yeah.
But the fans hated it.
It just absolutely tanked.
It didn't chart, like, they did very poorly.
And then he also, like, passes out in the middle of a concert as well, because he can't sleep because he has his sleepwalking problem. And I think, and I don't know why that gets portrayed in a bad light, but it does.
Yeah.
So just all of these things are just starting to cause, like, massive scandals around them as a group, because he's just getting himself into all of these completely wild situations because he is sleep deprived and, like, sleepwalking all the time, everywhere.
Yeah. So overall, I think we've got, our last boy.
Oh, yes.
Our last boy.
Sweetest boy.
Oh, the nicest boy. The nicest boy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's played by AB6's Donghyun, sorry. And he is the maknae, he's the keyboardist, my apologies.
Mm-hmm.
And his main plot line is that okay, so this is where we get the funny part.
Yeah.
This company is releasing a group. We see them mainly first on the, essentially, Music Bank, because I think they might be using the Music Bank set.
They might be.
One of those
or
sets.
One of, like, Inky, one of those, like, whatever's one that SBS has that one.
Yeah, I don't remember which one's SBS's, but whichever one there is, they might actually be using...
SBS music show? Is that... I don't remember.
It's very fun.
Inkigayo is the SBS one.
Inkigayo. They might be using the Inkigayo set. And our boy is one of the hosts, and he is interviewing this group of 4 people. Mind you, in the background, much like Inkigayo does, they're performing the music video, and I was watching this, Kayla, and I'm like, wait a minute.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, is that BDC? It is. They just are playing BDC's Moonwalker, which is funny because it's a 4-member group, and BDC's only 3 people.
Yep.
But they are just playing BDC's Moonwalker, and the group is just the 3 members of BDC and this other actor boy.
The actor boy is the one who's there to create the main conflict, but the other members are it's just BDC.
It's just the members of K-pop group BDC, while only using, because every once in a while they'll go to the CEO and they'll still have, like, posters of the groups. The poster for that group is just BDC.
Honestly, I feel like I kind of love it. That it's like we're just using BDC as the background.
I really do too. It's hilarious. Because the group is called Blue Moon, which is very funny.
Because all of BDC's songs have the word moon in them somewhere.
Yeah, they're involved with the moon somehow, which is hilarious. But the main conflict ends up being that our sweet boy was bullied in middle school or high school. I think it was middle school.
One of them.
By this kid who, like, mercilessly taunted him because he was in a K-pop company. And I think that, again, bullying, massive issue in actual K-pop.
Yes.
And then he continued, like, he sort of has a very bad reaction on stage because, like, this guy tries to, like, touch him.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a very, like, it's a triggering reaction where he, like, flinches. And that's not necessarily a good reaction.
What you want to be doing when you're on a live television.
And then, so he's sort of being talked at, and then he decides to just quit the group.
Mm-hmm.
Because he cannot be...
Oh, he is also getting semi-blackmailed because this other kid who bullied him has a video that shows him essentially, I think it's like defending just like punching him in the face, but it's not the whole video because he's doing it in self-defense, but it's edited in a way that it looks like he is bullying the other kid.
That he is a bully.
And so he gets sent it personally first and is kind of blackmailed with it, and then it is eventually just leaked online. And so he kind of has, like, massive, like, public uproar because of that as well.
And so he decides that instead of setting this straight, Because at this point, he's told no one in the group.
Yes.
He decides to leave.
He just straight up disappears. He leaves their dorm and just runs away.
He runs to his adorable little...
It's like karate studio or something? Yeah.
Something. It's very sweet. And I like that this is sort of the first storyline that comes and gets resolved because, like...
Yeah.
This is still when the group is... This is sort of what sort of brings the group together because they're about to just sort of let him leave.
Yeah.
And just be like, well, he doesn't want to be here.
Because this is, like, Junyoung is in, like, peak bitch mode, and he's like, if he doesn't want to be here, he can just leave. And I think Jisung is like, what the fuck is the matter with you?
Like, why do you hate us?
Yeah.
So otherwise, that's very fun. Then we get the confirmation where he later finds just an actual, he stands up for himself, like and then actually gets the full recording of, hey, this is everything that happened. I could show this online, but he decides not to because, you know, he's a quote unquote better person, which is fair, but also maybe we should know, maybe the people should know that they're supporting like an actively terrible person who's still terrible.
Yes. And I think they, like, I don't think they actually reveal it at all. They decide to just, like...
No, they don't. Not at all.
Delete the evidence. They kind of just show up to, like, an abandoned building, and they, like...
I think it's their middle. I think it's the middle. They
the
show up to the middle school.
And then they just have a fight, like, just to fight it out.
They don't... Yeah. They just sort of punch each other.
Yeah. And then it's like, and then the bully kid is like, please don't reveal it. And he's like, I'm just gonna delete the video. I'm like not gonna even, I can't be bothered with this anymore. So
yeah. So we move on. But he does become like a more, they sort of understand that sweet boy more.
Yeah.
Because he's the youngest. He's sort of the baby.
This does seem like it was, they're very much, at the beginning of the show, it's very much a group that are coworkers, do not speak to each other often.
Yes. I think it seems like Jisung and our little AB6 boy are friends.
They're friendly.
The others are coworkers.
They're just coworkers. They live in a dorm, but they like do not speak to each other about essentially anything.
Then again, I am curious because I am not sure if this happened. I'm not sure any of them ever found out that JR was actually dating that woman. I don't think he talked about it. I don't think he talked about it
directly. I think obviously when he runs away in the middle of the night with her, like, I think you can get it a do, but I don't know if he actually himself confirms that to them ever.
Like, I think they know he ran away. Yeah. But, like, I don't think they ever had a conversation. Like, that's the I think
it's like, obvious enough where they probably got the idea, but I don't think they ever had a conversation about him.
They never actively have a conversation about anything in JR's life.
Yep.
JR is
a very private person.
Very private, even for the people he lives with.
Yes.
I also did enjoy this show very much for its fact of, like, the CEO is not a villain. He is money focused because he's the CEO of a company. Everyone obviously has that in the back of their head, but he doesn't view these people as non-human.
Right. And he's, like, kind of also, like, there for comic relief a little bit as well. So he is kind of just, like, he's, like, the way he, like, reacts and stuff, it's just kind of funny. And it's like he is being a CEO, but he's definitely not like the cartoony evil type of CEO that we saw in like Imitation or anything like that.
Oh, absolutely. I do think overall it's just a good balance.
Yeah.
On this show between like active. I don't think we also couldn't just have another actively terrible person more than just Lee Junyoung. I think that was also the problem with Imitation, was that everybody fucking sucked.
Right. That is true.
So that was Let Me Be Your Night. Well,
overall pretty decent.
I liked it.
Yeah, it's an enjoyable show. Like, I'm not mad that I watched it.
I mean, I think between the amount of time we spent talking about the main couple and the side couples, the unfortunate part of that show is that for as much as we talked about all these side characters, the main
storyline is so boring.
Like those side couples are about maybe 25% of the show. 75% are this super boring, absolutely terrible main plot line that's not
it's
good.
Just everything going on there is just your typical like K-pop romance things, and it's just so there's nothing interesting happening.
I would say it's worse than your average K-pop romance.
Honestly, probably, because there's also the weird fraud and doctor
there's the
aspect,
fraud aspect
of it.
And I also don't think they have that much chemistry.
They have no chemistry.
Like, the chemistry aspect
But
is
I have yet to
low.
see Lee Junyoung have chemistry with anybody, so I don't know, that might just be a him problem.
Fair. I think that's just a general him problem, but, like, I need him to have chemistry with something. Maybe... Yeah. Ooh, idea. Do we think that two non-chemistries cancel out to a positive? We put him and Song Kang in a show together and just see what happens. See what happens if you put them in, like, one of those Korean BLs?
Bro.
See what happens. Maybe two non-editors.
I don't know if I could stomach. I don't think I know if I could stomach watching that, to be perfectly honest. That would be terrible.
It'd be garbage, but, like, maybe by math logic, two negatives are a positive, right?
Maybe. It definitely doesn't work with, like, straight couples, because they've done that before and it's just still bad. So,
you know, if the straights don't work, there's always the other option.
Straights don't work, so
maybe. I do like the idea that somehow we find a way to put Song Kang in all our episodes.
Song Kang, every episode about K-dramas, we need a Song Kang.
We don't. I don't necessarily have that many opinions on this man, but I just feel like
he's kind of bad, is my opinions on Song Kang. Like, I don't think I've really enjoyed him in anything.
At this point, fair, because I first want to give him the benefit of like, maybe he's just in bad shows, and I'm just like, but how many bad shows
can you be in before it's like, this is your entire career?
I don't know. Lee Min-ho's been in every
Lee Min-ho is also in pretty bad shows.
Which, again, is a similar Song Kang
question. Song Joong-ki also similar situation, as we've realized. Okay,
so this is an off-topic tangent, but we have come to a realization.
I've come to a massive K-drama realization.
And Kayla is correct, which is the fact that everyone thinks that
Song
Joong-ki is a good actor.
Yes.
But the one we point to is always Descendants of the Sun. That was a fluke, because everything else I've seen him in, I don't like.
I have hated Song Joong-ki in every single show he's been in outside of Descendants of the Sun. And so I was like, Descendants of the Sun was a fluke. That was a fluke in his career, and Song Joong-ki is not a good actor.
Yeah, Descendants of the Sun is so good. Like, it's like top 10 show ever made. But, oh my God,
because it's after like watching him, or just like the show that he's decided to be in, because he's like in freaking Arthandel Chronicles, and he was in like a Werewolf Boy, and then like Space Sweepers, and obviously like Vincenzo, which we famously hate. Like, none of those are good. I haven't enjoyed any of that.
No. And now I'm just curious, because I haven't... You haven't watched The Innocent Man, right?
I've watched about 4 episodes of it. But The Innocent Man is just kind of bad in the way that, like, 2012 K-dramas are bad, so...
Yeah. Because that's the one that I haven't seen, and I was just curious. I'm just like, even when he's a baby actor Song Joong-ki, is he also bad?
He's not... I was like, I don't think I've seen enough of it to know, but that's just a weird show to begin with. But then again, we're at the same place where it's like, if you're choosing to be in like weird shows, then your career is like, that's your career.
Yeah,
that's just what we're doing. You've been in too many of them where I can justify it.
Yeah, so we've now decided that Descents of the Sun is a fluke.
It's a fluke.
Because that's the thing of just like, when that might have been like my first exposure to him,
right,
as like a main lead. And I'm just like, oh, this is incredible.
Yes.
So he must be great.
But no, apparently not.
Nah.
That's where we're at. But anyway, to get away from the tangent, Idol the Coup. The last one.
Idol the Coup is the best show.
Idol the Coup is surprisingly good.
I think it's quite good.
It is so good, and the entire time I was watching it, I was like, I can't believe this show is this good. Like, I know. Genuinely can't believe that they made this show this good.
I was waiting for this show to take a turn for the worse. Yeah. I was waiting for something to happen in this show that just like threw a curveball into it, and I thought it was coming, because when I was watching it, I'm so conditioned to So the show is about mainly about the girl group Cotton Candy.
Yes.
Love that our girl groups are called Tea Party, Cotton Candy. All
Candy.
these fake K-pop groups have this very similar naming structure.
Yes.
Because it's Cotton Candy and the boy group is called Mars.
Mm-hmm.
Which gives me vague Tea Party Shacks vibes.
Yes. It's the same naming vibes there for sure.
Which is that's the one thing I think about these shows is that they have the vibe of real K-pop groups,
They do.
but not the naming conventions of any of them.
This is true.
Because we don't name K-pop groups Mars or
No,
Shacks anymore.
We have significantly worse names for K-pop groups these days.
Yeah.
But so Cotton Candy is a group. They essentially established the company that they are in, and they were getting like okay popularity at first, but as more time went on, they just became less and less irrelevant, and are at the point in their career where they are just not getting any types of schedules or anything. The members have to get part-time jobs to even make money, and they are just essentially waiting out disbandment.
It's essentially newest mixed with like Top Dog.
Yeah. Yep.
But yeah, and like they're essentially at this point doing one last comeback before disbandment.
And this was essentially done to spite the company because they asked for disbandment from the company. The company said no. And then they went off on their own and is like, okay, if you're not going to help us, we're going to go find a song and make our own music video. And we're going to make a last comeback. We're going to win a music show and then we're going to disband.
We're going to immediately disband.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing is that like Mars is the new hotshot group. Like I don't know if Mars is like an EXO level company.
No, I wouldn't say they're kind of like I would say they're like Astro level popularity is what I would say. They're around
They
there.
are the group. They're like the face of the company, and they're decently popular.
Mm-hmm.
But I never got the sense that they were like
the sense they were like A tier K-pop.
No. The other fun aspect of this show, which is where like this show has the good thing with it is that it has the balance of realistic K-pop, which is like, a girl group like this is gonna disband after like 7 years.
Yeah.
Like that seems reasonable.
Mm-hmm.
They're all older. They want to move on with their lives. What else? Mars is like a popular boy group. Whatever, all of that.
Yeah.
But like then you have like the pure drama plot.
Yes.
Where like the CEO has a massive heart attack and dies.
Dies, and then the new young hot CEO is like the stepbrother of the male lead.
The one thing I did love, and this is just super like this is just a personal thing that I adored, was that so our main lead is played by Hani from EXID, and Mars is a K-pop group, but one of the guys from Mars, who is our male lead, and the hot, rich, young CEO.
Yes. Those are our main three roles.
Yes. This show establishes this to be a love triangle. And I'm like, I don't want her with any of this, because both of these are conflicts of interest.
Yep.
This kid is young. Like, the age difference doesn't really matter, but, like, it just felt weird for her to get with this kid. And then her being in love with her boss is weird. The show is too realistic for you to be in love with your boss.
I honestly love the fact that this is not...
And then this just wasn't a romance.
It's not a romance. And I love that the fact that it's not a romance, because I think K-pop romance is like, I'm done with that as a concept. I don't really care about it.
Here's the thing. I love romance. I'm here for the romance, but I think that this show did well with not having it.
I think it makes the show so much better that it's not a romance.
Because the other thing is, I think just with the way the show worked, because they could have, because you've seen it, Kayla, they could have ended up with her and I saw them going with the CEO, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
That ending scene could have been different, where, like, at the end, the group does disband. She no longer works for him. I could see them, like, doing the bullshit at the end where it's like, hey, you're not my employee. You want to go to dinner? Mm-hmm. And, like, that's how we're at. Or, like, they do end it with a kiss. And I think that after everything that happened, that would have been a bad idea.
I just really like that I think the show very much knew the fact that they were not going to push it in the direction of a romance to begin with. And that was the thing that I saw people saying that they didn't like about it, was that there wasn't enough romance. And I'm like, look at these two male leads and tell me that the romance makes sense between either of them. Like, it just doesn't.
I don't want it.
This
I
kid
will
who is
say-
like significantly younger than her and also her boss. Like that's like I don't.
Yeah,
It's not.
both
It's
of
not
those
the
are
way.
bad ideas. But again, I think that K-dramas have just so conditioned to have romance at the end, especially K-dramas that have a female lead.
Yeah.
This, I'm just so happy that it didn't. It just didn't need it. It was not necessary.
Mm-hmm. It was
The other
completely
thing I love,
unnecessary.
and also that CEO is kind of our villain because he is the one that's actively making their lives harder.
He is. It's like so he's like the villain in the way that he's a figurehead for the overall entertainment company, and he is the one making a lot of these decisions. But the farther along we get in the show, the more he's going, the more he's going out of this way to like help them succeed. Whether or not they really want to accept help from him at all is like changes along the way too. But I think the more he sees of them, the more he sort of just sees like, especially Hani, this girl with like massive ambition, and is like, I don't need to be an asshole as much of an asshole as I'm being right now to them.
The other thing I did enjoy was that this group did disband at the end.
They did.
Like, this wasn't a, hey, we're gonna disband, but, because they do end up having a massive hit at the end of the show. The group comes back and their song is a hit.
Yeah.
And then they disband. Just like they said they would. Like, it's not that they turned around and were like, no, but now we're
successful, so now we're not gonna disband. I'm like, I did like that they actually disbanded. I like that.
Yeah, at the end, they all go on to just be do their own different things, either production, either being an actress, either, once a dance teacher, choreographer.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just good.
It was good. I liked that aspect as well. Also, the general tone of this show is so clearly set a lot darker than the other two as well. And I feel like because of that, it was able to like go into issues that the other shows either couldn't because of the vibe or just were afraid to cover as well.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, just even in how it's shot, this show is shot with like much more natural looking lighting, which means it's darker than the other, like just lighting wise. Yeah. Darker than the other ones. It's not as so bright and like bright and cheery.
And like just as like a general to get the vibe of the show, in the opening episode we're introduced to one of the members of Cotton Candy, and she's passed out drunk at a club, and like they have to call someone to come get her essentially.
Yeah.
And it's
like they're doing things like just doing like live streams to get money. Like they're just doing what like
the one dances at the club and gets like money for it or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think they do a really, really good job with it. Because, like, one of the members, her storyline is that she is on, like, anxiety medication, but she doesn't want the other members of her group to know about it because she doesn't want to come off as, like, weak or anything. And then Exie, who is, like, she's kind of, like, a pseudo, like, she's, like, one of the more important members of the group, I'd say, because her storyline is more important. But she leaves the group officially, but she'll come back eventually. But she leaves and is essentially trying to get signed into another entertainment company to go solo, but this involves
or even
like
just this entertainment company, any entertainment company that will take her.
But she is like, but that involving that means she goes on these weird dates with like the old CEO of the company, and it's like kind of vaguely implied she also has to do like weird escort service type stuff as well. So that's like really interesting. It really goes in deep, like kind of really dark.
And I think things like that are kind of why this show was the least watched of all of them.
Yeah.
One, it had no romance. I think the minute you don't see that. And two, all the idols in this show are either not idols anymore, or they are, like, older idols that don't necessarily, like, there are members of Cotton Candy that were in, like, LaBoom.
We have LaBoom, WJSN, and Red Square members in this group.
And EXID.
But I don't know but she's like, Hannah's like old and like pretty established as just like an actress as well. And then it's like, we have Barrow, formerly of P1A4 here.
Yep.
And then these members of this boy group Mars. The main lead is Kim Min-kyu, who was on Produce X and just has kind of done acting and hosting and like random stuff, famously of that really terrible Seventh Sense fan cam. And then we get Unsang, who is in that new brand new music group now. And then Ha Eunki was who was also on, who was in like Reigns and then was also on Produce Season 2. One of these members is the member who was gonna be in 2 and then got replaced last minute. He's in this show that I just found out recently. And then I don't remember if the other one is just an actor. But it's like we have really low tier idols here.
Oh yeah.
And then or just like people who are pretty well established as actors. So
yeah, so people that aren't necessarily so much in the industry anymore and can do subject matter like this.
Yeah, because it's like another one of the biggest plot points and like that we have is there's an entire plagiarism plot line, and that's I think one of the main like
that's
conflicts,
like the main, especially at the end, like toward the end of the show,
where it's like their old entertainment company has this music producer. He's kind of shitty. Like it's pretty.
He's a piece of
clearly shown
arrogant.
To be really
he's
shitty.
So arrogant.
Yeah. And then there is this old other music producer who Cotton Candy apparently was supposed to get a debut song from him, but accused him of plagiarism, and it ruined his entire career for the most part.
Yeah.
But because they don't have anyone else to give them a song, they kind of go crawling back to him.
And he's super pissed.
Yep.
That guy is the one played by Paro
right now. And it's like he essentially says, in order to give me the song, I need you to go get Exy's character, and she has to be a backup dancer for the group that she left. And it was just like an entirely like humiliating situation.
Oh no, it was god awful because it also caused them to like almost miss a performance of theirs with Mars.
Yeah,
all of it was just like
it was just a shit show. Everything going on
bad.
That was a shit show, but
it was just like a lot.
It was a lot, but it's like the thing that I enjoyed about this so much is like the drama is like so much more exaggerated, but it's in a way that it makes sense for a K-drama, and because
it is a realistic setting with K-drama elements, as opposed to a drama with K-pop elements.
Yes. And I think that's what makes it so good, is that the characters, I think, are so... It's like, I think they're a little bit less fleshed out than than Let Me Be Your Knight for sure, just because there are more of them. But I like the conflicts more. They seem more realistic to me. I like that it's not a romance.
And they're also handled, I think, in a better way.
They're handled a lot better.
Like, Let Me Be Your Knight sort of just like... Okay, now the conflict is finished.
Yes.
And especially with the fact that Let Me Be Your Knight still seemed like a drama with K-pop elements secondary.
Yeah.
This seemed like
the K-pop part of this show was the center of the show. Like every conflict stemmed from the fact that this is the K-pop industry and all of the conflicts that would be there.
People that like knew the industry or at least knew enough of the actual issues of the industry.
Yeah. Easily.
And decided to actually take issues that an actual K-pop idol would have. But just, like, all the issues and throw them all into this small group of people.
Right.
And, like, have it all at the same time.
Yeah.
Like a drama would.
The one thing that I don't like about this show, and it's, like, it's honestly just kind of nitpicky, is that once they clear up the plagiarism plotline, which is, I think, the main conflict, they go towards the end as you get, like, a couple episodes apiece on each of the other members of Cotton Candy and, like, doing a plot line with them. And at that point, it takes me out of the show a little bit because it
just
seems
a little
forced and
all over the place.
They were just kind of weird to begin with.
I feel like that should have been instead of all at the
we should have like put it like more. We should have spaced
them
out better rather than put them all at the end.
Because there are members of Cotton Candy, because other than, like, Hani and Exy, the other members sort of don't get that much characterization, generally.
They get, like Solbin's character is just wildly aggressive and drunk a lot of the time, so she's pretty noticeable just because of that, but
you don't get any reasons, you don't get any explanations, you just sort of get that.
Yeah.
A lot.
And it's like, you remember her because she acts like that all the time, but she doesn't have any sort of other fleshed out storyline until literally the finale is, like, when they get to her episode. And it's like, and that's the conflict at the finale, and I'm just like, I don't know if I think I didn't think it was a very good conflict for the finale either.
No, not really.
Because it's essentially her grandma's dying, and she's about to miss the thing, and it's like a whole thing, and I'm like, okay, I've watched so much of the show now. I've just been introduced to the fact that this girl is a grandma who's dying. I don't care about it, really.
Yeah, it just sort of seemed like they could have rearranged a lot of these plots to be in a better order.
Yeah, for sure.
As opposed to, like, whatever was happening.
I think the plagiarism thing definitely should have been saved up until right at the end, and we could have, I don't know, done something else that maybe was a conflict for them.
Something.
That was going to interfere with their debut or their music show performance, other than the fact that this girl was visiting her dying grandma, but...
Something else. Anything else.
And then there's, like, a weird one with the girl who is on anxiety medication who has this, like, man who's a stalker a little bit, but also, like, apparently filmed, like, a child porn of her, which is, like...
Yeah, no. But apparently, like, he's threatening her with blackmail of her own child porn.
And I'm just like, that's fucked.
But also, we get that's
in, like, episode,
finished.
like, 10 out of 12.
Yeah, no, then also, that is completed in, like, I don't know, 20 minutes?
That is, like, introduced and resolved within, finished. Like, essentially an episode and, like, a fourth, so...
But, like, in total terms of time dedicated to the storyline, I think we get 20 minutes to it. Because, but also, we're just gonna sort of let this guy keep getting away with possibly making child porn? And
it was very weird. Like, that one, super weird. That
just seemed wrong.
Yeah. But it's, are there any other side plots really happening here? I don't think so.
Not really. I think we hit all the major ones.
I think those are the main ones, yeah. The only other thing is that, like, the main lead and this other kid from Mars are gonna be debuting in, like, a subunit, and that's where the plagiarism thing is coming from, because it's their debut song that is in question of plagiarism, so... that's really it. I think that's mainly what happens. Oh, we did see our manager gets killed in a car crash, like...
At the same time
the CEO's having a heart attack.
Like, those are simultaneously happening.
Mm-hmm.
So that, like,
and that happens in, like, episode 2 or 3 of the show. So
yeah, because that's just sort of to make it so that we can, one, get hot, rich, young CEO.
Yes.
And also so that this group can be, like, fully alone.
Fully alone. Because and the one man who cares about them has to die.
Yep. He must get into a massive car accident while it's downpouring.
I know. It was like, I was sad because I liked him a lot.
Yo, he's wonderful.
He was wonderful.
Here's a question.
Yes.
At the end. Favorite song from each show.
Ooh. So I like...
Because also, I think, for me, before we go into that, I think Idol the Coup probably is the best music.
It has really good music, yeah.
Overall, I think because I think it just has the most music as well.
It has the most music, and also because they do, like, the collaboration thing before, we get, like, I think just more songs with that as well, so... Yeah. I really like it.
So what's your favorite song from Imitation?
So Imitation, I'd say it's still Malo. That one, I think, pretty easily the best for me.
Yeah, I think it's up. Malo and Tea Party are both up there for me, but I would still say I would give it to Malo.
Yeah.
Kayla, what's your favorite Luna song?
Love Paranoia is the one for me that sounds like a N Flying song, so I like that one.
I go back and forth. I kind of want to give it to Beautiful Breakup. Because I think that song is just, like, a whole lot of a lot.
Right.
We pull the melodrama up to 12 on that one.
Yeah.
And it's very funny.
Mm-hmm.
I also think it's kind of where, agree with me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But I think our main bitch boy has a very whiny sounding voice.
He does.
And I think a song like Beautiful Breakup is where that whine sort of sounds okay.
Right.
So what about Idol the Coup?
I have to think about that a little bit, because it has so many more songs in it, too.
It has so many. Yeah, that's the other thing, because you get, like, 5 songs from Cotton Candy.
Right, yeah.
You get a Mars song.
Because Honest by Cotton Candy is a pretty good song.
But
I also really like the duo one that they sing, which is, Talking to the Moon, I think that's the name of that. I mean, is that the name of that? I like that a lot.
I think so. See, I like that one a lot. I also like Cloud 9 by Mars.
That's all, yeah.
That song is
it definitely is the best song. It definitely has the most songs, but...
Yeah. Because
they sound the most, like, typical K-pop songs in Idol the Coup.
They do. I feel like this is what, like, you just got, maybe not songs by, like, top-tier K-pop producers,
Right.
but, like, your average K-pop song from, like, your average K-pop group. It's what you're getting.
Mm-hmm. Should also be known that Sammy and I own the OSTs, essentially, for all of these shows.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Sammy bought me a Shax album as, like, joke present for Christmas.
I did.
So I just had that. And then
we started watching the other two shows.
And I was like, I think I just need to own them all now that I have this Shax album that's just sitting on my shelf of albums, so.
And the thing was, I wanted the other two.
Yeah.
I wanted the Idol the Coup soundtrack and the Let Me Be Your Night soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, and then I was just, you know what? I gotta get Shax. Fuck it. We'll make a set.
Yep, just gonna be a set. So now, here we are.
Also, before we end, I want to just complain that somehow Shax has the best bagged album package.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Shax's album is one of those plastic pouch albums that for some reason it's the best quality plastic pouch album that I've ever bought before. So
it really is.
It's like, because it's like a pencil case. It's like a clear pencil case. So it's like pretty sturdy for a pouch album. Mm-hmm. It's upsetting that it's Shax that is the one that has that, but
yeah, as opposed to like just an absolute.
And now I just have too many photo cards of Lee Junyoung for no reason now, which is also kind of upsetting because he's in 2 of them.
Same. Also, the fact of the one thing I will say is that personally, overall, I think that because like Shax was just a K-pop album with a lot of extras because it came with like a keychain, so it did feel like an OST. Mm-hmm. But like also like you were just getting merch. The group, which I think is funny.
I thought that was funny.
Let Me Be Your Night's album was just packaged like Moonlight.
It's just an album.
It was just an album from Luna with the name of the album that came out in that show. And so it did only come. So Shax comes with 3 photo cards, and then
a keychain.
Luna comes with and a keychain. But Luna comes with 2 photo cards, which is fine because that is just pure K-pop album packaging.
The way it's packaged is it's just a K-pop album. Yeah.
I did appreciate that because Idol the Coup didn't do a separate Mars album and a separate.
Is an actual just OST.
It's just an actual OST,
but packaged like a K-pop album.
But they did give you 2 sets of photo cards, with 1 with Polaroids of all the cast, and 2 with 1 photo card from each member of Cotton Candy and each member of Mars. Just because I genuinely think that if you gave anyone half the Mars members, they would just be like, who the fuck is this?
Yeah, the other members of Mars, other than the main lead and the kid who's in the subunit with him, like, they might as well just not be in the show. Like, they're barely there.
Yeah. But, like, I think generally speaking, this is more like what I think an OST should do, because genuinely this isn't a K-pop group.
Yeah, the other 2 were clearly meant to be K-pop albums for gimmick, but the Idol the Coup one is, I think, very clearly an OST
just an
album.
OST. Yeah, and I like it for that reason, because on one side you have a picture of Cotton Candy, and on the other side you have a picture of Mars.
It's cute.
It's very cute. I think that that's sort of the perfect way to do this type of album, because I do like, while the gimmick of just
it's like, I don't know
like
if I like
K-pop
the
album.
gimmick of having a K-pop album for a group that doesn't exist, but I am more okay with owning just a OST for a K-drama.
Yeah. Not that I own many OSTs for K-dramas. That's not really where I
Yep, those are, I mean, these are the only 3 that I own, so.
Same. And really, it was for the gimmick of it all.
I know. But yes.
I like that we haven't bought that much K-pop this year, but this is what we have.
Before I decided to buy the JO1 and I back catalog, those were the only 2 albums I had bought this year.
For update on me and Kayla's ever-extending J-pop collection, we have both decided that we are going to buy every version of everything that JO1 and I have ever released.
So we've caved, and now we're also buying the I box sets. And I also went back and I bought every single version of JO1's albums that I didn't own before.
All I need to buy are like 3 versions of the Star.
See, I bought the other 2 versions of the Star on eBay this morning, so they're all on the way now.
Look, I need to get on that. I haven't had time. I had errands to run.
Yep.
I had to go. I had bills to pay. And honestly, the K-pop budget, I think because of current K-pop things happening, the K-pop budget's getting diverted to other things.
Yep. And it's like half of my groups are dead that I want to buy
Kayla
albums
has no
for.
more.
So it's like I might as well just go all in on J-pop at this point because who else do I have here to even support right now? So
why not?
Mm-hmm.
And then I've only needed like 2 albums this year.
Yeah.
Just cause like, that's about it.
Yep.
What else do I need?
What else?
Who else is
what
coming
else can
out?
I do except for buy K-drama OSTs and J-pop now? So
I mean, I've bought.
That's what 2022 is looking like.
I mean, I bought The Tale of Thousand Stars and Bad Buddy DVDs.
You did buy those.
They're,
Uh-huh.
This is what happens when we're so used to having disposable income for K-pop, and then K-pop goes away.
K-pop
we still have
to shit, and it's like, now what do I do with all this money?
What do I do with the money I set aside for this?
Right?
I spend it on like stupider
and like
things.
I could just not spend the money, but I kind of want to spend the money.
It's the thing of just like spending money feels good.
It does.
I need that dopamine.
I need the dopamine.
Like, it makes me feel happy.
It does. But yes. That has been K-pop K-dramas. Hooray.
Hurrah.
Hurrah. I hope we get more of them, but only if
I kind of want to get
more?
like 1 a year.
Yeah.
I don't
need
3 within
3
6
in the
months.
same year, and I don't need 2 of them to share the same actor also. So
I also think he should retire from those.
He needs to stop those.
Then again, if he's just going to retire from those and do Love and Leashes, I think he should keep doing them.
That's true. This is also very true. Also, there is a scene in Let Me Be Your Knight where he acts like a dog. And I was just like, this is a continuing theme for this man, apparently.
Woof.
Woof, woof. But anyways, we are available on all major podcasting platforms like Apple Podcast and Spotify. We also have a YouTube channel where we post all of our episodes along with an extra fun clip video every week. And we have a Instagram and a Twitter account that are both linked in the description of every episode. And with that, we will see you next week. Bye!